Right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome all to the January 2022 full council meeting of Colne Town Council at Colne Town Hall, which is being live streamed on the Town Hall's youth YouTube channel. We have some apologies. I have Councillor Jonathan Nixon, Councillor Mark Chung, Councillor Sarah Colburn-Price, Councillor Liz Hurley, and Councillor Dorothy Lord. Is that everything, everybody? Yeah? Are we happy to accept those apologies? Item 3 is declaration of interest. To receive any declarations of interest from members relating to any item on the agenda in accordance with the provision of the Code of Conduct or Section 103 of the Local Government Finance Act. Are there any declarations of interest? No, can we record there's no declarations of interest? Item 4 is minutes, to approve a correct record, the minutes of the meeting held on Tuesday the 21st of December 2021. Any amendments or questions? No? No? Can we have a proposer then, Councillor Thomas, and a seconder, Councillor Clamp? Thank you. Well, do we take that as approved by the council? Yeah? Yeah, thank you. Item 5 is public forum, to consider questions, statements or petitions from members of the public who are welcome to the meeting and have a total collectively of 15 minutes to make their representations. Now, we understand we've got Councillor Kieran McGladdery who wishes to address the council. So, Councillor McGladdery, are you here?
Good evening, Chair. Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, brilliant.
Can we take your question, please, Councillor McGladdery?
You can. Thank you very much. Thank you, Chair. Good evening, everybody. Firstly, may I wish everyone at Colne Town Council somewhat belated Happy New Year, and to everybody a healthy and prosperous 2022. My reason for requesting to talk this evening is related, probably unsurprisingly, to the Great British Rhythm and Blues Festival. Chair, after seeing online the agenda for this evening's meeting, I had followed up with a query as to whether an additional item could be added to enable the council to update the public in full on the plans made so far for the Blues Festival in 2022. I wasn't able to be accommodated there. I'm in the same boat as many councillors in the town, and indeed the borough, in that I must get asked a dozen times a week what's going on with the Blues, and how people thought ticket sales should have already started, perhaps. They used to buy them for Christmas presents, and what's going on with the Blues Society, the CBS Society. So because it couldn't be added as agenda, I've decided to enter the forum, the public forum, and ask the questions directly this way. So I have a few questions for the council. First one is, would the council be able to appraise the public of the plans made so far for the Blues Festival in 2022? I understand there's a confidential topic, item 21, so obviously that put that aside, but not disclosing any confidential information, could we have an update for the public for the Blues, any plans made thus far, when tickets might be available, any update of any kind? It seems to have gone quiet a little bit. So that's question 1 for the update. Question 2, Chairman. In respect of the Colne Blues Society organisation, can the public have an update on any discussions and or agreements as to whether they are going to take over the running of the festival post 2022? Towards the back end of last year, we had a couple of meetings. There was an extraordinary meeting, and CBS was all over social media. It was the talk of the town. And similarly, I've been asked, are CBS going to get the festival going forwards? And I don't have the answer, so I pose that question to you. And question 3, we've heard at previous meetings from the town clerk that the organisation of the Blues isn't something that takes several weeks. It's done over the whole year. It's no surprise. It must take an absolute gigantic effort. With the imminent changes to Colne Town Council's officers and the huge loss in knowledge that will be lost during that period, a natural succession plan is surely called for. the ideal would have been to have CBS work hand in hand with the officers for 2022 to enable them to take it over in subsequent years with the practical, logistical, administrative expertise held by the current team and our town clerk specifically. So what are the succession plans with regards to the festival going forwards, given that we're going to lose a vast amount of expertise? And are we not missing an opportunity here to involve CBS to transfer the skills before they're lost altogether, Chairman? So I won't take up your full 15 minutes. Those are my three questions. I can repeat them if needed. And thank you for your time.
Thank you for taking the opportunity to speak to us and asking your questions. The opportunity for you to ask questions, you're not really asking questions and expecting us to give a reply right now. We're going to have this next month. It'll be an agenda item, an open agenda item with a better update. And we are in the process of arranging a date for a meeting with Colne Blue Society. And staff handovers are being managed within the continuity of the staff. So I don't think you'd have any worry about that, Councillor McGladdery. And as I say, we need to arrange a meeting as soon as possible with Colne Blue Society. But I haven't heard anything from Colne Blue Society. I've been asking around the town what they're doing, who's doing what, and I have had no response at all. I've even asked the bid manager, and she said she just thought they were getting on with things, but there's nothing specific that's come. So we do need a meeting. I agree with that, but we can't do it at the moment. But we will invite them to a meeting, and we'll have a chat with them. Okay, Councillor McGladdery.
Yeah. Do I get opportunity to just ask another question?
What's that question then?
Well, it's more of a response. Sorry, Chair. So yeah, it's news to me. It was a genuine question regarding the CBS. I've not been liaising with them myself since I think November, the extraordinary meeting. So that is an update, which is what I asked for. So thank you. Just regards the Blues Festival in itself, would it be possible to have it as a standing item on the agenda going forwards until where we're at with it?
Councillor McGladdery, we have a blues working group, and that is being, some dates are being, we're hoping to have those in the next couple of weeks and have them every month. So okay. I'm sure people from Colne Blues Society may be invited to those meetings.
Thank you for that update.
And we are in the process of speaking to Colne Blues Festival about dates when they can come and meet with us. But I understand that evenings are better for the Colne Blues Festival, and there's quite a few of them, so getting a date that everyone can do is quite difficult.
I agreed, yeah.
Okay, but thank you for coming and taking the trouble to ask these questions, and I can assure you that I know it usually takes a year, but it was right at the end of November when the actual decision was made. And then it's been COVID and this Omicron, and it's been quite difficult to speak to people that we need to. But we're on with it now. We've had meetings the last week or so, and watch this space.
No, I appreciate the updates. Dare I ask just one last question, Chair? Well, I've not used up the 15 minutes, so I may as well. Just regarding the future of the Blues, there was lots of discussion at borough level, at town level, at the extraordinary meetings. The public perception was very much that, however it was coined, we don't wish to go past all that again, but we were moving to a new summer music festival of some sort. Just regards the future of the Great British Rhythm and Blues Festival, have Colne Town Council decided, are we now committing to that for the future? Is it in the pipeline to perhaps hand it over to an organisation such as the CBS, or are we still very much in discussions?
We can't really comment at the moment. We really don't know. We've not had a discussion about it in this council, so I can't really say anything about it at the moment for the future. Okay.
Okay, thank you for your time.
Can we move on to item 6 then? Thank you. To determine during which items, if any, the public are to be excluded from the meeting. Such an exclusion would need to be on the grounds that, in the view of the nature of the business to be transacted, if the public were present, there would be a disclosure to them of exempt information within the meaning of Schedule 12A of the Local Government Act. So it's proposed that item 21 be a private item this evening due to the commercially sensitive information being discussed during this item. Okay. Can I have a proposer for that? Thank you, Councillor Clamp. Your seconder, Councillor Glenda Clegg. Thank you. You'll just give me 2 minutes to get my papers in order. Right. The next item is finance. To receive a schedule of payments from 15th of December 2021 to 11th of January 2022 for approval by the Chair. Now, is there any questions from members, either on the items over £1,000 or of the monthly outgoings? No? No? Right, can I have a proposer then for those? Councillor Howard Thomas, and a seconder? That Councillor, no? Schedules payment, oh, yeah, okay. Right, we go on to receive a summary of budget. The schedule of payments to the value of 46, no, that's not right, I'm on the wrong one here. To receive a summary of budget, spend and commitment as at the 11th of January. That's the item 7B, the budget. Any questions or comments? Thank you, David. Can I have a proposer then? Thank you, and thank you, Kevin, the seconder. Thank you. The next item is to receive the internal audit report from Yorkshire Internal Audit Services for 21-22. It's for information only, but if you could note that it's got a completely clear interim internal audit, which I think we need to thank our staff and the FES committee to get that we've got a clean bill of health. So, members of FES, thank you very much.
I think, Chairman, we ought to record in the minutes our thanks to the staff, particularly the RFO, for gaining us a clean bill of health.
Yes, are we happy with
Mark
that?
Well.
Yes, I think that'd be good. Right, thank you. We'll write that into the minutes. Thank you. Item 9 has been pulled because it's been sorted out. It's been withdrawn by Pendle for the council. Item 10 is the free swimming. To receive a request from Pendle Leisure Trust for the Colne Town Council to continue to support the free swim initiative and that the council commits to continue to provide this service in 2022-2023 at a cost of £5,853.32. Has there been any comments? What do the council want to do? Yes, David.
I think it's in the budget. I think it's an excellent thing to do. Everyone needs to know how to swim. So I think we should carry on supporting it.
Thank you. Anybody else, any comments? Yes, Councillor Clegg.
Thank you, Chairman. I'm quite happy to second
Councillor Clegg, please could you turn your microphone?
What I would like to ask is, previously, the cost had been slightly higher than this. Can I ask
Are we getting the same service as we got before at a lower price, or have they actually cut something out of it?
I can actually say it is the same price as we paid last time. The reason why there was more in the budget was because I anticipated an increase. But it is the same service we've had before and the same price.
So there's going to be as many sessions as there has been in previous years.
As far as we haven't had the actual details through yet, but I'm not expecting any changes.
Councillor Wildman.
Yes, I think it's an excellent initiative that they do every year, and I think we should carry it forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I have a proposer then? Oh, David, yes. And Brian? All right, you seconded it. Okay, okay. Yeah? Sorry. Item 11 is the schedule of meetings for 2022-2023. Is everybody agreed for these dates? Are we happy with them as it goes?
Can I move them, Chairman?
Can I have a seconder, please? Councillor Thomas. Oh, Councillor. All those in favour? Thank you. Item 12 is benches, smoke-free. To consider the request from Colne Business Improvement District that Colne Town Council designate some town centre benches as smoke-free. Can we have some, yes, Councillor Thomas, have you any comments?
Yes, Chair. I don't know how legally we could do this. In fact, I'm pretty sure, by the way, Naomi's shaking her head, that there isn't a legal way we can do it. And I could, in theory, it's a wonderful idea, and I generally support it, but I can see that it would cause a little bit of bother when somebody sits down, lights up, and someone else comes and sits down and says, "Oh, you shouldn't be smoking on here." I think that would cause more trouble than it would solve. So it's a great idea in principle, but in practice, it's just a non-starter. I think the only way it could happen would be through one of these public space protection orders, and you'd have to define a whole area for not smoking, as are the playgrounds in the children's playgrounds. They're protected under that type of thing. But I don't think that it's possible for us to do that. So regretfully, I think we have to say, sorry, we can't do it.
Anybody else have got any comments, issues? No? I mean, we don't own any of the land that these town centre benches are on, and we've got no way of policing this at all. So it's not really, in my view, something that we can do. Yes, Councillor Clegg.
Thank you, Chairman. What Howard has said is correct. Legally, we are not able to do it. As regards the no smoking rules outside, you can only impose it on a structure that is either partially or totally enclosed. And you can't hardly call, a bench out in town centre a structure that's enclosed. There is another problem with it, that if you did make it so that they couldn't have, no smoking whilst they were sat on a bench, there's nothing to stop someone being awkward and standing right next to the bench and smoking anyway, and then you wouldn't have a leg to stand on, you wouldn't be able to do anything. Well, there is another way around it, and I think in principle, along with what Howard said, I would support this if it could be done properly. But the only body that can actually do it legally to my mind, is Pendleborough Council, because they could do it as a public space protection order, but they would have to designate an area rather than a structure, and they'd have to designate all or part of the town centre, and they could do it. So maybe could I suggest that we suggest to the Combe bid that they approach Pendleborough Council about it, because they are in a position where they could do it.
What's the feeling of the meeting on that? Or, yeah? Is that, or?
Is that councillor Clegg proposing that?
Have we got a seconder for, right? Okay, so can we vote that we'll send this back to the bid and say it's nothing that we can't do it, but to talk to Pendle Council if they want to take it further, yeah? Oh, we've got your other hat on there. Right, so you've got that proposal in a second, right? Item 13 is time allocated for agenda items. To consider the request that agenda items on all council and committee meetings have time allocations to ensure the efficient use of the time available during meetings, and that meetings remain lawful under Standing Order 3V. Can I have any views on this? I mean, I have a view. Go on, you first.
Okay, just a quick one. They do it at Trawden Parish Council, and they've done it for a long time, and it works very well there, apparently. They do confine it, they've got an idea about what's a longer item, who might want to speak, etc., and therefore they can be fairly tight. Not sure what anybody's going to do about coming back to the smoking thing. What is it, if we're going to enforce it, or we've got a bell on the table, your time is up, little red light system or something like that, but, you know, I think it's a good idea in principle, yeah.
Any other comments? Yes, Pat.
I'm not too sure about the meetings remaining lawful. Do we do meetings that aren't lawful?
Yeah.
What it is Standing Order 3V states that your meetings must be no longer than 2 hours. So when the agendas are set, I'll be honest, as your clerk, I go through and I assess how long items are likely to be to ensure that you come within those 2 hours. If it's felt that you have a bigger item that you may want to discuss more, for example, the Blues Festival, you will notice you have fewer agenda items too. So it is actually managed by your clerk who sets the agenda at that one. But that's why it's keeping it lawful, because you do have that standing order that says it cannot run for more than 2 hours. And if it is going to, you do need to have an item where you're waiving that and your reasons why. Does that help?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what would happen. I mean, there's more councillors here than there is in Trawden. And if we have like 10 people to speak on a public item, you would soon run into trouble that your other items that you may want to speak on, you may run out of time. I think it's quite strict. We do try to keep within 2 hours, don't we, at our meetings? But whether you would say that item's you can only have 5 minutes or 3 minutes or whatever, I'm not sure if people wanted to speak for longer, how we could go about it. I think it's a bit too prescriptive, but I mean, what do people think? Can I have some more views? Yes, Brian.
I think I've been on the council now for 3 years, and I think it's only a couple of times that we've gone over 2 hours, you know, and we've extended the meeting, so I don't think there's any call for it myself.
Thank you. Councillor Thomas?
I was going to say we could go the whole hog and do it like the Privy Council and do it stood up. That appears to hurry things along. However, I don't think my knees would stand it standing up for 2 hours.
So, can I have a view of this? Yeah. If you put something like that we're in principle, it sounds good, but in a bigger council that have lots of items that might come on to agenda urgent, that it would be difficult.
Okay.
Thank you. Can we have a proposer for that, please? Brian, thank you very much. And Alice, second that, yeah. Item 14 is branded clothing for staff and councillors. To consider the request for the council investigate the cost to provide branded clothing, fleece, polo, shirt, high-vis for all staff and councillors. I'm not seeing any great. Yes, Pat.
No. That's it.
Yeah, I think the councillor that requested that, to be fair, he's not here to speak about it. But anybody else wants to speak in favour of having branded?
The important thing is that is the plural lens men or lens persons have suitable workwear, and that's all branded. And when there are any events and anything, the events people or the staff at the event are identifiable. And if councillors are helping, that they can have high-vis jackets that say Colne Town Council on the back. If people want to walk around with high-vis jackets on and polo shirts and what have you, I suggest they buy their own, but I don't think it's needed.
So can I take this? There's no great wish. Yes, Councillor Clegg.
Thank you, Chairman. I wasn't going to say anything, but I feel I have to do, because we get a lot of stick over the years from various members of the public, because our costs keep going up and we keep having to put the precept up, hopefully only by small amounts. Sometimes it's larger amounts, but it does have to be put up. And I think the whole idea of paying of the council taxpayers paying for clothing for council members is totally out of order and ludicrous, and I think it's something we should keep well clear of and not get involved in. And I do not think we should be expecting the public to pay for clothing items for councillors. If somebody wants to be a councillor, that's fine, and if they want to have all sorts of clothing sort of suggesting that they're a councillor, that's fine, and let them pay for it. But I do not think that the general public should be paying for it out of their precept money, and that's my feelings on it, Chairman.
Thank you, Councillor Clegg. I don't see any great wish to take this to burning wish that we should all have this clothing. So are we saying we're not minded to consider this? Yeah, but we are in favour that the staff, when they have to go out, that need to be recognised as Colne Town Council staff. So can I have a proposer for that, please? Yes, Councillor Wellman, and a seconder. Did you put your hand up, Councillor Thomas? Or Clamp? Councillor Clamp, thank you. Item 15 is a memorial tree for Maureen Arnold. Maureen Arnold is an ex-councillor who died quite young. So there's consider the request for the council to provide a replacement memorial tree for Maureen to be planted on Millennium Green by the Trust at a cost of approximately £250. And Alice, do you want to speak to this?
Yes, this was an item that I requested at the last meeting. We had a car incident on the Millennium Green which knocked down the tree and it had to be removed. So I just think it would be a nice gesture considering all the work that Maureen Arnold did for this committee and this town, that we replace that with a flowering cherry, and I know that we discussed not just having a small whip, but actually having a mature tree. I was a little surprised about the amount, but if it's been investigated, then, and if everybody's in agreement, then I would propose that we go ahead with that.
Thank you. Are you a trustee of Millennium Green?
I am a trustee, but we didn't have anything to do with it being placed on there initially.
Yeah,
it was, I think, a town council decision.
Yeah. Is everybody okay with that? Can I have a proposer for that, please? Howard? Brian then. Brian. The seconder? Howard? Or Kevin? Yes, Kevin. Thank you, Kevin. All in favour of this flowering cherry for in memory of one of our councillors? Thank you. Yeah. Would you like to know when it's been planted? Then some of us could attend to the ceremony. Yeah. Item 16 is planning, but there is none this month. which you'll be pleased to know. Item 17 is correspondence received, and we've got two. We've got the additional parking at Alkin Courts Park, which has a plan with it. I've got the copy. Yeah. Have you all seen a copy of this? David, do you want to speak to this, please? David Clamp.
Yeah, I've read this. We obviously were already looking at this particular area ourselves, but this has come from a member of the public. I don't think you can make a decision or anything, but I think the truth is that we should look at it, because at some stage the park during this pandemic has probably had 3 times as many people using it as it's ever had, and that's a conservative estimate. It could well be 6 or 7 times more. But we looked at this piece of land, and I quite like the plan it's drawn up, because one of the things that we were a bit worried about was the fact that they would have to use the road in front of the parkway, but the entrance and exit are both held within this piece of land, so they wouldn't actually use the road in front of the house in Parkway. But for anybody who's listened to me before in this council chamber, I comment about this piece of land that you can't even get a tractor on it to cut it from September through to March, April, and sometimes May. The cost of actually doing this particular project, I think, will be quite high, but I think we should have a look at it and see what the cost would be, but don't expect it to be cheap, because this piece of land needs a lot of drainage to it. It does. It meets the requirements and everything, but then, like anything else, they'll have to take its turn within everything else that's in the budget.
Yeah, I think Pendle Council, when they had the park, they looked at it, didn't they? And it was very lot of money. But I mean, it is a good thing. It looks good. So shall we ask the officers to investigate further about it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that all right? Are you proposing that, Howard? Yeah. Okay. Thank you. When I look down and when I look back up, I know there's somebody else's hands up there. All in favour to investigate further? Thank you. Right. There's a second one, which is the precept increase. You've all got the letter from a member of the public. Is there anything anybody wants to say about it, or? No? Do we just note it then? Yeah? But I'll thank that member of the public for taking the trouble to send that in, because he's obviously quite knowledgeable and there's a lot of information in there. So, yeah, please, thank you. Number 18 is items for a future month's agenda. I think you had one, didn't you, Councillor Mann?
Yes, could we put the telephone boxes back on the agenda? Thank you.
They are on my list of agenda items. I just haven't got round to bringing it because we have to manage what goes on the agenda. So I do have a list of several other items that we're filtering through that unfortunately got held back. So it is on the list.
So it is on the list.
Thank you. Thank you.
Councillor Mann. There was another item, I think, on this. Items for a future agenda, which would be the floodlights grant for SEAG. Because that seems to have gone very quiet.
Well, I've already applied for Christmas. What we're waiting for is a place to store the budget. So we reached the same amount of money, all we have to get our hands on the keys, the fire, the garage,
You know how long it's going to be?
well, we think in January.
Right.
I was hoping in December.
Yes. Anybody got any comments on that? Are we happy? Do we keep it on the next agenda? Just then you can report. You know that yes. Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you. Right. Well, it's about the SEAG got a grant, asked for a grant for some floodlights. Yeah, and that was last year, and it hasn't been spent. So we were that's what I decided to ask about. But we've had an answer now, so yeah. Yeah. Item 9 is Colne Neighbourhood Plan. To receive an update from the Colne Neighbourhood Plan Advisory Committee and to review documents for approval. But Sarah isn't here.
So it would just be to approve the design code.
So is it just to produce
Let me give you a bit of an update. She spent all day today working on various things for the neighbourhood plan. So as well as the design code, that one has to go out for consultation. So it has to go for a public consultation. So immediately after we say we're fine with it, it needs to go for a consultation. Quite a short consultation is all that's required. But I think it's the only document that has to go out to the public consultation because it's a new one, you say. So that has to be done. Basically, if we do it immediately after this meeting, and Sarah's already drafted a press release and the information for the website, etc., to publicise it, then it can then have a short turnaround in maybe a month or so we can get some feedback for maybe the February full council with a view to obviously trying to approve everything for March. Another document was sent to councillors. I think it was on the 22nd of December. I'm sure you all read it over Christmas, which is the non-designated heritage assets one. And the comments back by the 7th. So I hope you all had a look at that. We've also been doing a map of the locations. So imagine doing a big Google map with all the little dots everywhere and trying to figure out where exactly everything is, looking at postcodes, then moving things around a bit. That's taken a bit of time, but that's the extra thing that goes with that. So we want to try and approve the non-designated heritage asset as well. There's a grand total of 13 documents for this, so therefore being able to tick them off is obviously what we need to aim to do. I think Sarah's also sent me an email, which I think she sent to you, Gina, about the discussion she had with Michael Wellick, where she went through all the various documents and all the various stages of them. There's a number of documents which don't need council approval because they're either specific technical ones or they haven't changed anyway. So I think she's highlighted whichever ones they are.
I was going to say, though, I think it was full council that actually said that they wanted to approve any documents that were going on the website.
We can get a viability certificate that was written by a technician, therefore it's not there for us to debate as much. The technical person has written this report to support the thing. And so...
Well, I would say it's a decision for the full council, if whether you want to see these technical documents or not.
It's what Michael Wellick says. He's our consultant. He wants to do it.
well, can we ask somebody that's on the advisory committee, the neighbourhood thing? Yes.
If something is going to end up in a document with our name stamped on it, it ought to be approved by the full council to say that it has been approved. That's not to say we're going to argue over every dot, comma, and this technical bit's not right. But there have been in some of these documents that, Michael Wellock has sort of said they're all right. There are still errors that have crept through some of them. So, we just can't say, oh, it's technical, so we're not going to approve it. I think for it to be I's dotted and T's crossed, it should come here and be formally approved.
These Councillor Mann, can I just ask whether these documents have been to the advisory, the Neighbourhood Plan Advisory Group before? Yeah. Alice, the technical ones.
Yes, we went through the viability assessment. We had a presentation about the chapter locality operators.
Right. Alice.
Please, can you turn your microphone on?
I think as a committee, we have decided that and already voted that we would all receive these documents as a whole committee rather than just keep it as the working committee. So I think it's important to stick to that decision and not put anything out to the public until we have agreed that. And just another comment. Could we know how much the consultation is going to cost?
My understanding of it, it's an informal one. So most of it will be done in-house by your officers. I can't give you a figure yet because we don't know what we need to print, what needs to be done, and that tends to be the costs. So until we've got that, I am aware that Councillor Sarah Coburn-Price has emailed some information over to Gina this afternoon that we were just literally about 10 minutes before the meeting we're about to look at and run out of time. In regards, if I may ask through you, Chair, you said it's quite a short consultation. Am I right in thinking 2 weeks? Right. Okay, because I'm just thinking, if I may, that obviously at the moment we do still have some COVID restrictions in place, and we do need a little bit of time to print documents, I know she sent some wording through, and so if we're going to do this, could it be looked to be done, say, the end of this month? Kind of not start it tomorrow.
Can I ask the councillor? I mean, you've got work and you've got priorities, I would imagine, and so this will just have to take. I know it's important, but you can't drop all your other work and just do that. I don't know whether anybody else has any concerns.
What about something like the first 3 weeks in Feb? Would that? I'm looking at pulling faces at Gina or the council.
Not me, it's whoever.
There's amongst all the Partygate stuff, there are rumours that, and I forget the date, but it's in the next sort of fortnight, that there'll possibly be a change, well, a lessening of restrictions. So it would seem worthwhile to wait for that. I mean, I think a similar thing's happening in Scotland as well. I think they've said today from X, where X is a day sometime in the future, things are going to change. So that may, excuse me, that may help with, I presume one of the things will be a display in the room downstairs, so that if restrictions are lifted, however little or much, it gives us, if they reduced to nothing, it makes it easier. And if they stay as they are, we've got a bit more time to put up, what's the, sanitising station. That's the wrong word, but you know what I mean.
I think as well, and another one to point out, in terms of cost, the cost is minimal because you don't print things out and give them out to everybody. What you do is you do publicity on the website, you publicise it in the room downstairs, you offer Zoom sessions for people who want to discuss things, just like we did the last time round. So it's very cost efficient to do.
Well, I've got Jean who'd like to speak, and then Brian and Alice.
The cost for the consultation should be minimal. And I would like to thank Sarah because she has sent a lot of information through today with helping with wording and things like that. But if we are having a public event, it does have to be risk assessed. And obviously we need to wait for to know what the restrictions are going to be before we can actually put that risk assessment together. So to me, I think the first 3 weeks in February would
be best.
Yeah. 31st of January to, yeah.
Brian.
I didn't have my hand up to speak, but if we need to approve the documents at Colne Town Council, we can't start.
The consultation is just on this one document.
Pardon?
The informal consultation is just on this one document that you're approving tonight, is my understanding of it. I'm looking at Councillor Coburn-Price.
Thank you.
That one that that's the thing that we got, yeah. Alice?
I know there was quite a lot of concern over the last consultation, particularly in the Waterside ward. And I know that was done during a lot more COVID restrictions, and a lot of people who aren't savvy on the websites and the social media did feel hard done by. And so I would suggest that we don't go for the minimum amount of time of 2 weeks, but we extend that rather than rushing this through and causing more upset.
I think Councillor Clegg would like to speak. Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Well, I've got a couple of points, really. The first is the documents that, after we've looked at them, the documents that go out, actually go out in the Colne Town Council's name. So we are responsible for having the documents right before they go out in our name, else we are going to look absolutely stupid. Now, it makes sense that because the Neighbourhood Plan Group is an advisory committee, the giveaway is in the name of the committee. They are advisory. They can't make the decision to authorise these documents to go live and to go out and to be approved. Neither, for that matter, can Michael Wellett do that. He isn't authorised to do it either. So my assumption is that for it to be done properly and minimise the risk of us looking silly as a council at the end of it, they need to come here, and they can come individually like they have been doing. As David said, we've been having them, drip feeding into us slowly, and we approve them and they're done and dusted and done with. We can carry on doing that, but I think they do need to come here because of the risk of getting them wrong, and we can't let someone else approve them for us and then us carry the risk. So I think we've got to be careful there, and we've got to do that. That doesn't mean to say that we need to scrutinise very thoroughly every document. They can be circulated to members long before the meeting, and we can look at them at home, and then all we need to do is just to stamp them and approve them when it comes to committee, but it does need to come to full council to be done. And I don't think there's any other way of doing it, Chairman. And as regarding the going out to consultation, don't have a problem with that, but I don't think we can make a decision about anything to do with the consultation until the 26th, when the government make their decision and tell us what they're doing about the next stage of the lockdown, how much they're releasing it, how much they're altering it, or what they're going to do. And until we get to know that on the 26th, I don't think we can make a decision to allow people. We could do the consultation online, that's not a problem, but we can't be allowing people into this building when we haven't been authorised to do so. So we can't make that decision until the 26th.
Well, would it be okay if we look to say we would like to start it on the 31st of January, depending on what the government says on the 26th? Yeah, but subject to COVID restrictions.
Run it 3 weeks till the
Run it 3 weeks. Yeah, yeah. And I mean, I know we say it doesn't cost anything, but it will cost officers time. You know, it's not cost free, David.
I think, yes, we should wait for guidance. Yes, we should aim for the 1st of February for a 3-week period, so, or 31st of January. I think we were praised last time around, even when the impositions were a lot harder in terms of lockdown and things, for the creative way and the flexible way in which we engage with the public. I think the people at Waterside, they're all awake now, so therefore their chance is there to look at things, and I'm sure you as their councillor will tell them. So, you know, the knowledge and the words can spread out there, and we can see, you know, what's going to happen. So, yeah, I think, you know, it's a good way to do it.
Yeah, it is, you know, it's, they said they're hoping that no more restrictions after March, but what they're going to stop now in the next week or two, we don't know, and we need to wait till we've found out for that. So we need to approve this Colne Neighbourhood Plan Design Code. Can I have a proposer to agree this? To review this document for approval. And can I have someone second that, please? Howard? Yes, yes, yeah.
Proposed dates subject. And the proposed dates for the consultation, subject to the government guidance, would be to run it for 3 weeks from the 31st of Jan to the 19th of Feb, which gives us a chance to get everything ducks in a row, is that?
Are we all happy with that? Are we clear with that? Do we want to vote on that, please? Thank you. Thank you.
Fabulous.
Next one is date and time of next regular meeting, which is Tuesday the 15th of February at 2022.